Hey, welcome back to Aircraft Adventures. I'm Liam Locke, and we are in the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 edition. And a lot of things have changed here recently. I haven't put out a video recently because I've been learning how to fly the Aerosoft CRJ. And, you know, it continues to amaze me that every time I get into a new aircraft, even though some of the principles are largely the same, the aircraft layout is different, buttons are in the wrong place, getting familiar with the flight management computer, just the controls are all slightly different. And add on top of that, even though I've become familiar with flying like the TBM 930, where, you have autopilot, but thrust control is manual. In the CRJ, there is no auto thrust. I mean, for being an airliner per se, right, a small quantity passenger airliner, you get spoiled by the Boeing aircraft and the Airbus aircraft with the auto thrust. It's just something less for you to have to manage pretty much for the majority of the flight. But in the CRJ, we actually have to manage thrust the entire time. Actually, I would say managing thrust in the CRJ, the only time that it becomes really simple is during climb and during descent, because the flight control computer actually will manage your rate of descent as well as the rate of climb based off the speed that you set. But once you're at cruise and when you're coming in for a landing, you are manually on the thrust trying to control the speed of the aircraft at the same time trying to fly it and bring it in for a landing on the runway. And for someone who is not a pilot at all, that seems to become, it's more challenging than flying the TBM. I don't know why that is, because I'm virtually doing the same thing in the TBM, but for some reason in the CRJ it becomes a little more challenging. And I don't know if there's a problem in the software. I have kind of observed that the thrust sensitivity, it seems to fluctuate a little bit more. I mean, slight variations in changes to the thrust. The CRJ wants to slow down or speed up, and it almost seems like it's doing the opposite initially of what you're telling it to do. It's very peculiar, but you might notice it during this flight. Anyway, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time talking. I am flying with different controls today. I was using a flight stick before, the Logitech flight stick. I have since changed to the Thrustmaster Airbus Edition flight stick and throttle quadrant, which is an interesting change. It's fun to work with the throttle quadrant because it gives a little more realism to interacting with the engines. But I find with the Thrustmaster throttle quadrant, the detents that they have programmed into it are too sensitive, and it doesn't allow you to give finite controls to the amount of thrust, especially when you're flying a plane that requires you to manage the thrust so closely like the CRJ. So in my experience, after flying the Airbus once with the detents in place, which was pretty cool, and it works pretty well because I don't have to worry about the thrust in the Airbus A320, I've taken the detents out of the Thrustmaster throttle quadrant just so I've got smooth control of the thrust I'm applying to the aircraft the entire time. In fact, this will be the first flight where I'm flying the CRJ without those detents in place, so it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. The CRJ down here, you can see the Austrian branded CRJ down here to the lower left. We are at Zurich International Airport. In today's flight, we're going to fly from Zurich to Vienna. I figured that was a good, relatively quick flight to allow us to try out the CRJ and just go through this cold and dark setup process and see how it goes. I have flown this flight a couple times, so it's certainly not a no prep flight, but I'm going to try and walk through all the process and continue to fine tune the steps that I personally use when working with the aircraft. So we'll jump back down here to the aircraft. Let me put my camera back here in place. Okay, well, I'm going to interrupt this flight. We're not going to go through the normal startup procedures that I'm accustomed to doing whenever I take these flights, because this flight was anything but normal. As it turns out, on this flight, I had to perform an emergency landing. If you have read anything on the Aerosoft CRJ forums, you've probably read about some individuals encountering problems with the CRJ and being able to generate lift once achieving a certain altitude. Now, I have flown the CRJ as part of my learning process many times, and I have not run into that problem at all so far. But on this flight, sure enough, I reached a certain altitude, and all of a sudden I was no longer able to get any lift out of the aircraft. I even ran the full thrust in the aircraft and still could not manage to climb. It was the darndest thing. I tried to figure out what it was. Never did really get to the bottom of it, but it was dark. It's pitch black outside. I had no choice. I was determined that I was not going to crash this aircraft, and I attempted an emergency landing. And whether or not that emergency landing was successful, you'll have to watch this video and see. I appreciate you watching. Enjoy. Thanks. All situated here. We're going to go release the parking brake, and we'll start to we're going to get rid of this page for right now as well. Making our way out here to taxiway E. I like to use Navgraph to help navigate my way down, make sure I'm where I'm supposed to be. And I'm still getting used to the throttle here a little bit, make sure I get the right kind of speed out of the CRJ. I'm looking at the navigation display for ground speed, currently up to 11 knots, now 12 knots. Good ground signs here in Zurich. This is add-on airport from FS Dream Team. "12 knots. This is a good speed. 13 knots. This here should be E. Take a quick look outside. We have a runway up here. We're going to go with and assume that we have clearance to cross the runway. We're not going to stop. "20 knots, ground speed heading down to runway 16. Alright, that's E3 that we just passed right there. We're not going to get on the runway early. We'll go all the way down to the start position. Hop on at E2. Watch our speed coming in up here.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has advised that we are now cleared for takeoff. Please notice the cabin lights have been turned off, as this is a normal procedure for a nighttime takeoff.
Alright, we'll come to a hold here. Hold short of the runway. Just a couple things we need to get situated. Get our landing lights turned on. Seatbelt signs are set. Get our strobe light turned on. We can turn our dome light off. It becomes really hard for me to see the controls of the aircraft, to interact with them. So I'm going to actually leave this dome light on. I find actually this dome light is very dim. So just initially I'm going to leave the dome light on just to make it a little easier to see. We need to go and turn on our transponder. So we'll go to 1 down here. Transponder code is set. Everything else is set and ready to go. Flaps are set. Flight plan is set. We're going to get ready to hop out on the runway here. We are going to climb to 2,000 feet. We're going to get 1 nautical mile away from KLO, and then we'll turn left, heading back towards our FMS flight plan. There's a lot going on during the takeoff in the CRJ, because no sooner do I get off the ground and obviously raise the landing gear, we need to engage the speed setting to control our rate of climb. Otherwise, this plane will just climb really fast at a low altitude. I'm also need to set the chronometer once we get out there, so I think I'm ready to go. One thing I do want to change, and there's some weird stuff when you move the mouse and you right click on the mouse, sometimes you could inadvertently select options on this EFB, and the last thing I want to select as I'm getting ready to take off or manipulate instrumentation is cold and dark and have the plane reset or shut down. So I tend to fly with it in performance mode, just to ensure that I don't inadvertently mess anything up. So we'll go back over here, and we are ready to make our way out to the runway. So let's go ahead and do that. Break off. We'll assume we are cleared for departure.
Alright, we're set. Everything's ready to go. I want to hit chrono.
Chrono started. We're going to spool the engines up here to about 50%. Going to release the parking brake. Everything's good. And now we're going to go up here to Toga. Speed's alive. Keep the nose of the aircraft down here. So keep it on the runway. Whoa, not too much. 100 knots. V1. Rotate. Positive rate of climb. Gear up. We need the flight director to be on, would be helpful, so we'll turn the flight director on. Continue our climb here. Watch our bank. Trying to follow the flight director. I was a little thrown off by having the flight director turned off. Keeping our speed under control. We are at... See, and I don't have the right setting up on display. So we're probably at 1 nautical mile right now already. I'm going to start my bank. I want to keep it around 190. I'm going to engage speed mode. And follow the flight director. And you got to follow the flight director, otherwise your speed will start to accelerate. So I'm trying to come around to the flight plan. We're going to come back here just a little bit, straighten out. Still watching my speed. We're getting ready to come back. I want to put on the autopilot engage, and I want to engage nav as well as altitude. And actually I want speed to be on because I want to continue my climb up to 5,000 feet. So the aircraft is adjusting right now. Should be going to FMS 1, and I'm trying to confirm that at the moment. FMS 1, yes. Looks like it is heading towards... We want it to be going to 5802. I'm just going to activate that right now. Put that up here. Yes, I'm going to exec that. So now our flight plan, I just updated really quick to go to ZH502. We are still climbing to 5,000. The engine's in Toga, and I should have pulled it back to climb already. So I've got it pulled back to climb right now. We're still under 10,000 feet. All right, we're climbing up to 5,000. Speed should be at in the neighborhood of 190, but we're no longer in speed mode. We're in altitude mode because it's closing in on our assigned altitude. So I have to kind of manage the speed on my own. We can start to speed up right now, and we should be speeding up some. So I'm going to accelerate because we're starting to lose speed in the aircraft. And did I retract the flaps? I did not. So part of the problem is I did not retract the flaps. So we'll get that situated. Continue to watch our speed. This is always the challenge with the CRJs and just getting familiar with it. There's a lot of things to kind of monitor. Still at 5,000 feet. Autopilot is engaging. Speed's around 200 knots. We can actually start to speed up to 250. So the plane is starting to accelerate now. We're going to go ahead and we need to get our altitude up because we should be climbing above, I think it's 8,000 according to the star, but I'm going to go up to 10,000 here next. And we'll just click the speed button and we'll dial this up to about a 240, 250 climb. So 240. I should be able to go back into climb mode. Why is this falling all of a sudden? Why am I losing speed? Speed. Come on, what are you doing? So the plane is trying to accelerate, so it was nosing down. So now we're starting to pick up speed. I want my climb speed to be 250-ish, 240-ish. So now the plane is accelerating. There's a lot to manage and pay attention to here. I haven't even cleaned up the aircraft yet. So once I get up to speed, I'm in toga still. Probably ran toga a little bit long. We'll go ahead and turn off the reversers. Turn off the taxi lights, don't need to be on. Here's about 240. And what's the temperature? Make sure we're not picking up ice. That's the other thing you really got to pay attention to. 2 degrees Celsius. Because there's such a problem with icing and not being depicted on this aircraft, I am going to go ahead and turn on ice. De-icer. I want it to climb up to 10,000. That is currently set. We should be climbing right now. Go back to climb. Now I'm losing speed, which is interesting because I don't want to be losing speed. I'm going to accelerate here again. I don't know why I'm losing so much speed, to be quite honestly. Landing gear is up. It looks like I'm having a problem with climb for some reason. Speed. Nav is working. So I'm just going to disconnect everything, go back to flight director, engage the autopilot, go back to nav, and try speed once again. $10,000. Come on, baby. Why don't you want to climb? We're certainly not climbing. I don't think I'm under... Am I under a constraint? No, I'm not at a constraint. I want to go back here to... whoops. The radio nav and also put that back into auto. Turn these off right now. And quick look outside. Look set up normally, but I'm not getting any climb performance for some reason. Get our heading to course adjusted as well. This plane should have no problem climbing, so I'm a little thrown off by the fact that we're not getting decent climb performance. I mean, that would be climb right there, but if I go into climb, I'm not climbing for some reason. In fact, I'm losing speed, which is unexpected. And I'm losing altitude. I don't have any errors. The Flaps are fully retracted. Speed brake is not set. Still losing speed. This is the first time I've had this experience where the aircraft doesn't want to speed up, so I'm going to go max thrust here for a second. Get my speed back up. Let's go back to altitude mode for a second. Still not climbing. We're having a hard time speeding up. The plane just does not want to go very fast. This is super, super interesting. Let's try a climb. Up back here to Toga. I'm losing speed once again. Trying to force my climb here. I really don't understand why I can't get any speed. Fuel is good. My weight shouldn't be a problem. Flaps are retracted, landing gear is up. We don't have any real warnings. We do have anti-ice on. Wow, this is really interesting. You know, I've read some stuff on the forums where people have encountered issues with the climb performance of the CRJ, and this is the first time that I'm actually experiencing this type of climb performance where I can't get the aircraft to climb. So let's just turn off everything. We'll turn off the autopilot. See if I can't speed up here a little bit. I'm going to drop the nose down a little bit, pick up some speed. If I drop back to climb, which is really climb is what I should be in, I'm going to drop the nose down here just to level off. Let the aircraft pick up some speed, which it's not doing right now. Right, I should be picking up, I'm at level flight with the engines in climb. I should be picking up lots of speed. Something definitely seems to be a bit off. I mean, I'm barely picking up any speed at all. Let's double check our weight. Our weight doesn't seem out of whack. 5.1. What is going on here? I mean, I'm losing altitude. I can't continue to lose altitude because we're going to be low to the ground here. Still. This goes back to sometimes you get this weird issue with performance of the engines in this aircraft. I'm not sure what that's all about. So I've gone up to max power, which we shouldn't be able to really run max power for too long. This MCT. Oh, you know what? I'll bet I know what it is. How much you want to bet? No, those aren't set. That's not even set. Engine is fine. Guys, I'm at a total loss. I don't know why my performance is so bad, but this is going to be a problem. And I'm trying to find it because I don't like flying. Well, I don't like starting a flight, not being able to complete it, and I don't want to obviously give up, but if this is something going on in a simulator, I'm not sure that I can really affect its change. And I definitely am flying at max thrust. Now that's at toga. I mean, I should be going like a bullet. 290. Indicated airspeed is way off the mark. Trying to get my speed back up. So now we're picking up some speed. But if I start to climb at all, I lose speed. Alright, let's go back to flight director for a second. Autopilot engage. Nav, altitude. Give me a chance to figure out what the hell is going on. We didn't put any of our information into the aircraft. That couldn't possibly be related, and I can't do that right now. Makes me wonder if that is messing with the aircraft's performance because we didn't do that.
Terrain.
Oh shit. Seriously?
Terrain.
Can't see shit out there. I'm flying into the clouds. I can't see anything. This is So we have a problem. We need to find a runway. I can't do this. I can't crash. So we are going to turn off flight director and everything.
Terrain.
We're going to take control of this. And we need to find an airport. So we're going to come back around here. Keep an eye on our speed. I have got to find an airport. Let's see.
Terrain.
I hear you, but I can't. Let's just go back around.
Terrain.
Got it. We're 900 feet off the ground, 700 feet. We're going to come back around and look for an airport. 1,700, 2,000 feet, so we're going to double back.
Terrain.
Oh my god, look how close we are. I see some land right there. Holy shit. We are right over top of some mountains. Holy shit. Can't crash. Can't crash. Let's get these reversers armed again. We need to get this plane on the ground. We need to find a runway. Emergency landing. I don't know how to activate the airport markers. And then we'll just follow our map back here. We've got plenty of fuel. I'm looking for the telltale signs of an airport. I want to go ahead and kill these lights for a second. I am not going to crash, folks. There's no way I'm going to crash. It would be helpful if I could bring up airport displays on this thing. I don't know how to do that. I think there is a way to do it. The advanced. Let's put this on. And let's activate airports. Should already be active, it says. Airports. $7,000 feet. I don't need to be climbing anymore. Probably I'm going to pull back here a little bit. I don't want to climb anymore. Losing speed so bad. I have no idea why this is. I'm worried my engines aren't going to hold up. Can't see anything. I'm practically blinded by all these lights around me. And you know, you're flying at night in the simulator and I've got all these white lights shined on me. It is hard to see out of the cockpit window. I am not going to lie to you. Let's level out here. Still 7,000 feet. Speed is picking up. I don't want to be climbing. Just nose down here a little bit. Crosswind. 6,800 feet. Still looking for a runway somewhere close by.
Terrain.
And now I have terrain in front of me, and I have no way to see that terrain. 1,600 feet. I should be good. I flew over this just a moment ago. I'm telling you, I'm not gonna crash. There is no way I'm crashing this plane. Watch my speed, slowing down here a little bit. This plane is just, it's not performing well at all. Airport coming up. What airport is that? LSZH, is that it? LSZR. It's 20 nautical miles out. I don't see it. I'm gonna slow down here a little bit. I don't see that runway yet. Looks like there's a runway up there off to the right just a little bit. That could be it. Is that it? That's an airport over there. Let's slow down here a little bit. Slow down the speed. I think there's a runway over here. We're going to see if we can't put down on that. We need to slow down a lot. 220. Slow down some more. Flaps 1.
Sink rate. Sink rate. 1,000. Sink rate. Sink rate. Sink rate.
I'm not sinking. I am sinking. Why am I sinking? Another
1,000.
flap. Landing gear. 1,300. I'm way low. Still getting really crazy performance out of these engines. I'm way low coming into this runway. I'm trying to keep the plane in the air. I'm having a hard time even seeing. again. Losing altitude again. This plane is all over the place.
Sink rate. Sink rate.
I know.
Sink rate.
I know, I know.
Sink rate. 500. Sink rate. 400. Sink rate. 300. 200. Pull up. 100. Sink rate. 50, 40, 30, 20. 10.
Oh my gosh. That was nuts. Are you kidding me? Where's my damn lights? How come I can't fucking see? Oh my god. Oh. Oh my god. How many different ways could I have set up myself for failure in that flight? I don't even know where the hell I am. I can't even see how to get off of this runway. It doesn't matter. I'm on the ground. There was something definitely wrong with that flight. I don't know what the hell. But that was an experience. Oh my god, what is wrong with this plane? Is there an exit up here? Oh my god. No clue. Let's get the APU started up. I have no idea. I could not get the plane to climb at all. I'm just glad to save these people and be back on the ground. I can't even see how to get off of this runway. I mean, is there a turn up here? It looks like there's a turn up here. Yes, here's a turn. So we just landed here at some small airport. I have no idea where I am right now. An emergency landing to save the people on this flight. Looks like I'm gonna have to go off this way is what it looks like, so we'll go ahead and do that. Well, here's a fuel pump. I don't need that. I need somewhere to park. Oh my gosh. I was just a bit nerve-wracking. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't think that I wasn't so sure we were gonna make it there. Oh boy, okay. Watch our speed here, going a little bit fast for this, certainly for this taxiway. All the lights are on. Start up the APU. I don't see any parking gates. And we have floating orbs. It's one of those airports. The floating orbs. I mean, honestly, it looks like there's not parking per se. Maybe it's parking on the grass at this airport. Yeah, I'm not putting the CRJ on the grass. Looks like this is going to take me right back onto the runway, so we're just going to end up parking right here. This will have to do for right now. Wow. Hello, parking brake. Thank you. Okay. I'd say welcome to somewhere. Welcome to being alive and not crashing this airplane. Wow. Turn this light back on so we can see what we're doing. People can get up and survive for right now. Let's, APU should be on. Let's get these engines turned off. Oh my gosh. No idea what in the world was going on. No indication of a problem, no air, absolutely no climb performance whatsoever. That was the craziest thing. We'll leave all the lights on. People can see us. No emergency crew yet outside. So I have no idea what happened there, but I'm glad that I recorded that experience because, as I indicated, this was not the first time that I have flown that flight, and I have never had a problem in the CRJ with climb performance. So I'm really curious if there was something that I did from a configuration standpoint wrong. The only thing that I did probably overlook was the copy of the performance initialization data into the FMS. So maybe that was throwing off the FMS's ability to control the automatic flight control system, right? So the flight control computers were, I don't know, but we certainly were having some really bizarre stuff. I mean, coming in there, just trying to keep, 250 knots, I was having to fly the engines at toga and even max thrust there at some point. Anyway, that's it. This flight's over. If you stayed around this long, thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. I'm Liam Locke. This was, in fact, an aircraft adventure, and I'm glad I got it on film. I'm going to try and figure out what happened here, and I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.